You can listen to this practice wherever you find yourself today. You could be sitting down or laying down or even stretching and doing things if that's what you got to do. And hopefully wherever you're at when you listen, this will still be helpful to you in some way. So if you would like to listen in a still position, you can feel free to take all the time you need to arrive there. And just allow yourself to fidget, adjust, stretch, move in whatever ways feel good in your body, in your muscles, in your bones, in your joints. And just doing your best to not think about the movements, but letting your body move you in the ways that intuitively feel good. And if what feels best for you right now is stillness, then honoring that need for stillness whenever that feels like what you need. So at any time, if you haven't already, you can just make your way to a still position with the spine nice and straight. And if you're in a space where you feel safe and would like to, you can allow the eyes to gently close at any time if they aren't already. You can just mark your arrival into your practice today, into your body today, with a full, intentional cleansing breath. As you take a long and slow inhale in through the nose and just letting yourself fill up to every corner and edge of you. And just holding that for a moment when you're full and really experiencing that sense of fullness. And without straining as you need to, slowly letting all of that go. And just gently pulling the navel toward the spine at the bottom of your exhale to just push that last bit of stagnant air out of you. As you again pause for a moment to experience that sense of emptiness. And allow your next breath to come as it's needed. And you can continue to breathe just like this for as many rounds as feels good and helpful for you. But at any point, if you haven't already, you can just release this guidance over your breath altogether. And just allow yourself to step almost back and up in the mind into that role of the observer or the witness. And seeing if you can simply witness the fact that your body is breathing, rather than having any direct impact over the rhythm or depth of your breath. But remembering how the breath can be either voluntary or automatic. So releasing that voluntary guidance and watching as your body breathes automatically. Just as you would watch any other force of nature out there. If you were laying on the beach and just watching the waves roll up along the shoreline. Not trying to change anything about how the waves are rolling onto the shore, but just watching as they do. And knowing that some days this feels like a really difficult, if not impossible, task. To watch your breath without changing it at all. And so it is perfectly okay if that's where you're at today. Other days it will feel very straightforward and simple. And just reminding yourself that each and every time you show up to any healing practice or a meditation practice, you will have a different starting point, since we are all constantly changing. And so just noticing if your mind is trying to hold you to any expectations. Maybe trying to feel something you felt before, or trying to feel anything specific, thinking that you should be feeling a certain way. And just know that the moment you catch yourself in those thoughts, in those expectations, just noticing them alone automatically brings you back into that role of the observer. The goal is not to get our mind to stop thinking, because our minds will always be thinking on some level. The goal is to watch as the mind does think, to almost take inventory of what the thoughts are. Because all throughout our days, the thoughts are constant. And there's so many different conversations and ideas going on within our minds all the time. And so you can let this be a time where you take a seat and watch them, just as you would watch the clouds going by in the sky on a really windy day. Noticing the shape of each cloud, noticing how they transform the longer you stare at each cloud, and watching as they eventually move out of sight. Maybe a ton of clouds are there. Maybe it's a really cloudy day in your mind and it's hard to make out anything specific. Or maybe it's a really clear day. But just allowing yourself to simply notice. And not allowing whatever you notice to be any sort of proof of who you are. And just reminding yourself to be so kind and patient with yourself, just as you would with anyone who you love. Imagining if your loved one came to you with a struggle that you are dealing with. No matter how big or how small, if a person came to you, a person who you loved came to you with the problem, you would automatically approach that from a place of love and understanding and patience. And you are capable of doing the same with your own problems. You do not need to be mean to yourself in order to get yourself to do what you want. And so you can just let some attention come now to your face. And even with your eyes closed, just noticing any expression that could be resting on your face. Feeling any areas of tension or fidgeting. And oftentimes when we have a really active mind that we are feeling lost in, it can be a lot simpler to bring our attention to the physical rather than the mental. And I find for myself, if my mind is incredibly active and chatty, each of those thoughts are often linked to an area of tension or fidgeting in the body. And it can be a lot simpler and more straightforward to tell your body to physically relax and soften than it is to tell our minds to stop thinking. And so, with your attention on your jaw, maybe as you allow your jaw to hang heavy and to release that remaining tension, some distant thought will naturally release along with it. So softening your nostrils a little bit more. Feeling how that softness in the nostrils naturally allows more softness to spread to your cheeks, to your upper jaw and the ears. And just allowing your jaw to hang into place. Allowing your lips to be soft. Feeling how that naturally softens any remaining tension in the chin. And even allowing your tongue to release from the roof of the mouth. Feeling your eyelids soften. All those tiny little muscles along your lash line that usually scrunch up when you squint. Even feeling those soften as you just allow the corners of your eyes to get a little bit wider, simply with this release. Even allowing your eyeballs to rest in their sockets. And just allowing your gaze to rest wherever it is looking, whether the eyes are open or you're staring into the backs of the eyelids, or maybe the eyes are rolling up and peering into the forehead, or rolling back even further and peering into the skull. But just allowing your sense of vision, wherever it is, to almost glaze over. So you are looking at everything and not one particular thing. Seeing everything and nothing simultaneously. Reminding yourself this is not a thinking or doing process, but one of watching, listening, observing. And just feeling how this softness in your eyes naturally releases the eyebrows a little bit more. And you can feel the full width and depth of your forehead as the hairline softens back. And feeling that sense of release naturally wash over the whole scalp, down the back and sides of the neck, as the space between the shoulders and the ears get a little bit longer. Feeling the full weight of your arms and hands. And just allowing your stomach to be soft. Allowing all the muscles across your abdomen to naturally rest and almost hug and protect all the organs beneath. Feeling your pelvic floor lengthen and widen into your seat. All the muscles down both legs and in both feet and toes. Just feeling this overall wave of release across the entire body. A sense of acceptance with exactly where you are right now. Remembering that acceptance does not mean that you like it or agree with it or want it to be this way. Acceptance simply means that you acknowledge what is. You do not need to like the way you are feeling right now in order to accept it. And oftentimes our minds can fool us that we need to disown who we are right now or how we're feeling right now in order to feel different or to be someone different. But that will never be true. the more that we disown parts of ourselves or feelings that we have, the more embedded they become deeper within us. I imagine it like pushing thoughts down inside of us just allows them to echo even louder and control us more insidiously, controlling our reactions to things. And those things will just fester and grow even more in the darkness within the depths of us. And so instead, what we can do is simply shine the light of our own awareness into those dark corners of us that we might be scared to acknowledge, into those repeating thoughts that make us nervous or upset. And just like that story that comes from, I think, the Thai forest tradition, and there's what you believe to be a snake coiled up in a dark corner of the room that you're in. And so you ignore it because you're scared of it. And it's just constantly there, looming over you. But when you take a flashlight and shine it into that corner, you see what you thought was a snake to only be a rope. And in fact, there was nothing to be scared of this whole time. And so many things about ourselves are that same way. They're so much scarier when we ignore them and refuse to look at them. But simply by shining our own awareness into these areas and approaching ourselves with the same compassion that we would anyone else who we love, it can turn a lot of snakes into ropes and really lighten our load. And we will never get rid of feelings or emotions or thoughts and ideas by shoving them away. The only way that we move on from feelings and thoughts is by allowing them to arise and therefore release. And so it is safe for you to feel whatever it is you're feeling. You are strong and you are capable of feeling and doing hard things. And everything you've been through in your life up to this point is the proof of that. When we face new challenges, we can fool ourselves that we will break or be crushed by the pain and the hurt. But that's never been true up to this point. You will not break. You will not be crushed. And so it won't be true moving forward. You will continue to move through hard things, to move through different phases of life. And you will continue to grow and become stronger and stronger every single day. And if there is physical pain maybe present in the body, or physical discomfort, or even mental pain and discomfort, psychological pain or discomfort in any form that is present within you, just know that that does not define who you are. And a really helpful analogy I thought of for this concept is our planet Earth in itself. And if you look at the Earth from outer space, peering down at our beautiful planet, when you see the Earth, you know that there is so much pain and hurt and sorrow that exists on this beautiful planet. And at the same time, there is so much love and joy and connection on that same planet. And the presence of the pain and sorrow does not negate the presence of the joy and love. But the earth is whole, and it is capable of holding everything. And if you were to look at the earth, you would not say that the earth is at fault for the pain that exists on it. The earth is not at fault for the destruction caused by humans on it. And so if you suffer from maybe an autoimmune disease, you are not at fault for the pain your immune system causes you. That's just what my experience is in, but any other illness or disease, it is not your fault. And it does not mean that you are all bad. But you are just like the earth. You are your own planet. You contain an entire, not only world, but an entire universe within you. And the universe, as we know, contains the full range of human experience and emotions and just everything that life entails. And so you are not defined by the ailments that exist within you or the pain that you've experienced. It is a part of you. It's just another part of who you are. And who you are is defined by the entire picture. It would be like zooming in to one pixel on a picture and saying that this is the entire picture. This is what this photo is. But you can always zoom out and get a more full image. And so if you ever catch yourself, or when you catch yourself, being so hard on yourself and convincing yourself that you are at fault for the pain that you experience, you can let that alone be a cue for you to pause and zoom out a little bit more. And just remind yourself that you are the earth. The earth is not responsible for any destruction on it. The earth will always be healing and recovering, and so are you. And so just being so kind to yourself, wherever you are in this process of change and growth, decay maybe. And just not allowing that extra layer of self-doubt to be so heavy on you. There might always be a small layer of questioning. But if we are aware of it, maybe we can lighten that layer a little bit more. Or just notice that it's there. And that is where we will all start. It's by simply acknowledging what is here. And we can sometimes cause that heaviest layer of our suffering by expecting ourselves to feel different than how we're feeling. And so if you catch yourself in those heavy expectations that you put on yourself, you can let those thoughts be cues for you to remind yourself that whatever you are feeling is what you should be feeling simply because you are feeling it. And the only thing we can all count on is that feelings change. Everything in life is constantly changing. And even when it feels like this is how it's always been and how it always will be, that will never be true. In the bad stages of our life, we can feel this way, and in the good stages of our life, we feel this way. And so you can simply allow yourself to be in whatever phase of life you are in, to be there fully, to gather as much wisdom and knowledge that you can from your own perspective, your own experiences. And just trusting that the next phase will be here before you know it. And so if it feels like something you would like to do today, you can just let your hands find each other in a prayer position toward heart center. Just feel this contact of your palms and fingers to one another. And allow your heart to lift toward your thumbs as your thumbs press back toward your heart. As you just feel all of this power that is generated through you. And just taking a final deep and full breath into the body as you fill up to every corner and edge of you. And as you exhale, letting go of anything you're ready to let go of, as you allow the head to gently bow. And just taking this moment to bow to the source of energy that allows all of our hearts to beat, whatever you believe that to be. And bowing to everyone else in this space who has listened and completed this practice right alongside you. And finally bowing to yourself for choosing to show up today and taking the time out of your busy life for this pure act of self-love and self-care. May this act continue to heal you through the rest of your days and nights, and may you bring the same love and understanding to everything you do and to everyone that you see. Thank you.